We are bound, O God of all times, on the occasion of this graduation ceremony, to give thanks for the lives of these graduates, their families, and instructors. Please give them a vision of the persons you have made them to be. Awaken their minds to the wholeness of your creation, and grant that they may remain curious about the nature of things, and that their daily inquiries may cause them to seek justice, to love kindness, and to walk in humble service as they defend and serve. Amen. Please be seated. Distinguished guests, students, family, and friends, good morning and welcome to today's graduation ceremony for Captain's Career Course, Class 90213. We're honored to have you with us to celebrate the accomplishments of these exceptional officers and to mark the beginning of the next chapter of their professional military careers. Our distinguished guests for today's ceremony, seated in the front left of the auditorium, are Mr. Michael R. Malasso, Colonel Retired, Deputy Commandant, Adjutant General School; Chief Warrant Officer 5, Coral Jones, Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General Corps; and Colonel Cruz from the 108th Training Command, representing his command to see one of his students graduate today. Thank you, gentlemen and ma'am, for being here today. The official party for today's ceremony, seated on the stage to your left, includes Major Janelle Verbeck, Director of the Adjutant General School Advanced Officer Training Division. And to her left, we're honored to have as our guest Colonel Dick Keel, Adjutant General to the G1, U.S. Army Forces Command. And to his left is our student class leader, Captain Robbie Cruz. Major Verbeck will now introduce our guest speaker.
We are honored to have Colonel Dick Keel here with us today. Colonel Keel is currently the Adjutant General to the Assistant Chief of Staff, G1 Forces Command in Fort Bragg. An impressive title, but just one of many that Colonel Keel has carried during his very distinguished career spanning over 35 years. I won't recite his entire resume, but if you have not already, I ask that you take a moment to read his bio in this program, so that you can gain an appreciation of his exceptional service to our AG Corps and to our soldiers. Without further ado, I'm honored to welcome Colonel Keel to the podium.
Stand on this? I like that. I can't believe this. A teleprompter, the computer screens up here, buttons, instructor's smartphone. Did I turn anything on? Pardon? I didn't get instructions. Mr. Malasso, Chief Jones, Colonel Cruz, I think you just saw you back there. Thank you. It's what a pleasure to be here. Hey, good morning, Team AG. What a pleasure it is to be here. And I have to admit, I'm humbled by the invitation and those kind opening comments. I was reading the bio because I was trying to figure out who this guy was. And I said, oh, what an idiot. I don't think he had any kind of quality of life. All he did was work, and then I realized it was me. So I guess I made a few mistakes here. I've had a blessed career and some great jobs and even some better bosses. Sometimes not always in the best place, but then again, you can have fun any place. I've never been stationed at a place I didn't like, and if I could do it all over, I definitely would, and would do exactly the same thing. Okay, enough of that. Guest sequestration has really caused some challenges in finding a guest speaker who still has a TDY budget. Okay, my budget's almost gone too. We had a bake sale last Friday. They put it on my little charge card and gave it to me. The good news is I got here. The bad news is I got half a tank of gas and $10 left. So if you could find Mr. Wally, I might have some free time. I have to admit I've had a difficult time of thinking what I should talk about this morning, and I stayed up late last night trying to come up with something. There are so many things that we could talk about and spend hours in great discussion. Do I talk about what's relevant today, today's Army? Do we talk about what's relevant to the AG Corps? Do we talk about what's happening in the AG Corps with the Corps Division headquarters redesign, or do I talk about leading soldiers? I think you probably know where I'm going to go with this. Something dear and near to my heart. The one is going to be about relevance, and the other is going to be about leading soldiers, because that's what you're getting ready to do. I'm not here to bore you, and I know that the only thing on your mind is getting on the road and taking that well-deserved leave. But as I can vividly remember back to my advanced course days, captain career course days, the class doesn't end until the final bell rings. Too bad, but now you have to listen to me and all the things I'm going to say, because I got the bell. Oh shoot, I forgot. I'll push one of these buttons. I'll figure it out. So, but hopefully you take a lesson or two away, and you actually learn something. So, anyways, if you haven't started reading the bio, now would be a good time before I start talking, so it gives you something to do. Okay, question number one. What kind of AG officer does commanders want? What do they need in today's Army? My answer, the AG officer that is needed is technically competent, emotionally competent, and personally disciplined, and also has a pretty good network. Those characteristics, again, is having that network of friends, of peers, and of leaders that you can trust are what's greatly needed and wanted. I had a question in the class before me today, and they asked me, what makes a good S1? If you're technically competent, emotionally disciplined, and confident in your skills, and have that great network, it's not a job you can't do. Question number two. What's the perfect career path for you to be a colonel, a lieutenant colonel, a major? The answer, I'm not sure. Because in our branch, there are many different routes to take. To me, career success is only defined by you and your family's enjoyment and job satisfaction. Think of this. No matter who you are, one day you too soon, hopefully not soon, will be a non-select for promotion or schooling. What do you do when that time comes? I recommend you be sure to take care of yourself and your family. Enjoy each day for what it is. Balance your career needs between the jobs you want, think you need, and the jobs that will allow you an enjoyable quality of life for you and your family. You can be that knuckle dragger, staying with the divisional units, or you can be the spook, spending much of your career in the elite special ops units. If you want, you can be that consummate staff officer who works at HRC in the Pentagon. Because each of those jobs, each of those tasks, require a special kind of person. No two jobs or no two people are the same. So pick your career wisely. Time to talk to you about leadership and relevance. Leadership and that junior soldiers make that binding tie, make that binding team, and relevance in which you understand what we do as AG soldiers. First, I'm going to talk about relevance, about our branch and our jobs, meaning of relevance to our AG Corps. This is a true story. A few weeks ago at the Iron Mike AG Regimental Association meeting, we had the United States Special Operations Command Sergeant Major speak to us. And we asked him about the relevance of the AG Corps. I mean, if you look around today, it seems like we're taking cuts. In fact, Mr. Lawson just grabbed me and said they're trying to do it again. We've gone from over 50 adjutant general soldiers on a Corps Division G1 staff to 27 and 25, and now they want to cut us again. It's hard to do our job. Not only do we have our core functions providing training and ready forces manning the units, but over the last year, we picked up like 12 new additional tasks. Things that our bosses don't realize we're doing. We got the RTC mission. We're fielding the new OER and CER. The VOW Act for ACAP and transition came into place, and we have to execute that. They want us to execute a sponsorship program, more robust than what we do, 100% sponsorship. We got 7 folks at the battalion, 13 folks at the brigade. It's pretty hard to do. So we asked our major, tell us about your thoughts on the AG soldier. He talked about it from the first day when he came into the Army. He said the first thing he had to do is, other than sign in and there's an AG soldier in front of him, is that they had to get in line and go see a paymaster. It was an AG officer, somebody from the AG shop. Back then, you didn't get the little cards and all the cash deposits on it. You had to go sign for some cash, and then they lined you up. You went and got your haircut, you went and got your personal hygiene items. But it was an AG soldier on the first day of his career who influenced his life. And then throughout his career was the Battalion S1 who signed him into the replacement battalion. It was the Battalion S1 who signed him into his first unit. And it was the Battalion S1 who took care of his records, ensuring that he was ready for promotions or selections for schooling. It was the Battalion S1 who made sure he got mail from garrison, mail on the battlefield. So every day his life was influenced by an AG soldier. Mine was the AG soldier who so sadly had to work in casualty operations and the retirement services for this NCO walking out the door, losing his lost friends, and then getting ready to retire. So he said, the S1 has influenced my life throughout. Now I forgot to mention that he's married to a retired AG Master Sergeant, so his life was really influenced by the Adjutant General Corps. But I had to laugh and smile because many of those memories of the AG Corps are the same ones that I've shared. I remember coming in 78. It was the AG soldier who was the one who signed me in and moved me through, and it'll be an AG person who will kick me out the door. Think of it, because of us, other soldiers in the Army go about their daily lives relatively admin-free. Talk about relevance, I think I made my point. Now let's talk about leadership. I want to tell you what I believe that leadership is. But to know leadership, you have to know the difference between leadership and management. I have a couple of stories on leadership I want to share with you. The first is the difference between leaders and managers. And the second story is about a Coast Guard captain who recently passed away. The difference between leaders and managers. I've got a young captain on my staff. Pretty phenomenal. She approached me a couple of months ago and said, hey, I've been reading all about leadership and have implemented several ideas. And I think I'm doing a good job at leading my team. How will I know when I crossed over from being a manager to a leader? I didn't have a ready answer. Geez, that's a great question. Complicated issue. So we decided to talk about it the next day. That night I thought long and hard and came up with 3 tests that I thought she could use to help determine if she's crossed the road from being a manager to the leader. Test 1. Counting value versus creating value. You're probably counting value, not adding to it. If you're managing people, only managers count value. So managers even reduce value by disabling those who add value. Example, if my email poll clerk is required to report every 15 minutes how many transactions he or she has entered, by distracting him, you, the boss, is subtracting value. By contrast, leaders focus on creating value by saying, I'd like you to handle A while I deal with B. You then generate value over and above which that team creates and is as much as a value creator as his or her followers as you are. Listen to this, leading by example. Lead to empower others. That's what mission command leadership is all about. Lead to empower. Test 2. Circles of influence versus circles of power. This is another discussion I had with your sister class. They asked me about management and leadership. Just as managers have subordinates and leaders have followers, managers create circles of power, while leaders create circles of influence. The quickest way to figure out which of the two you're doing is to count the number of people outside your reporting hierarchy who come to you and ask for advice. The more you do that, the more likely you're perceived as a leader versus a manager. Test 3. Leading people versus managing work. Management consists of controlling a group or set of entities to accomplish a goal. Leadership refers to an individual's ability to influence motivate and enable others to do that work and to contribute to the success of the organization. Influence, inspiration separate leaders from managers, not power and control. Here's a lesson I learned the other day. I told you about this Coast Guard captain. His name is Captain Paul Lutz. He commanded the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Sherman. Sherman was the first of its kind Coast Guard cutter. It was the first Coast Guard cutter to develop, test, and run on gas turbine engines. It means that the boat could get up and go. I met Captain Lutz 8 years ago, as he's my wife's father. Captain Lutz was a plank holder for the USS Sherman, and he brought that boat from development to the testing stages and took it over to Vietnam in 1970. Where am I going with leadership? Well, because at his funeral, there was a dozen men from his crew who showed up. That's almost 50 years later. They were still there following their captain. And I asked them why. Because I heard the stories about what kind of man he was. This guy was 6'4", 230 pounds. He was huge. Sort of like that young captain back there who's coming to Fort Bragg to work at Fort Scott. Look, he's not even smiling. You're in trouble. They called him the Bear. And why did they call him the Bear? Well, the Coast Guard cutter Sherman got in a firefight in November of 1970 in Tonkin Bay, and they sank an enemy trawler. I guess it was a pretty intense firefight. They were fired upon, they fired back. During the firefight, as the captain, though he was in charge, they needed more ammo up on deck. Captain Lutz, he was the captain in that time, was running downstairs to the ammo room and carrying buckets of ammo and rounds of ammo up to the gun. And his sailors looked at him and said, "Sir, why are you doing this? We need ammo, I'll help get it." That's leadership. During his daily inspections, Captain Lutz walked through each, and they said he was religious. He never missed a daily inspection, to include the galley, the kitchen, the deck, everything else. Well, he loved his men, and his men kept his ship spick and span. We walked into the kitchen one day, and he had a new crew member down there. And while he was inspecting the kitchen, they even polished the grates on the floor. You know, metal floor when you're in a kitchen, how food and water can go through. They polished those. Captain Lutz walked around, and he had his flashlight, and he looked and he saw a piece of ceramic glass and a coffee mug that had fallen and broken. A speck of glass. He complimented the men on how grand the kitchen was. But at the same time, he took his flashlight and he shined it on that speck of glass. And he looked back at the sailor, he winked, and he said, "You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work." That's leadership, taking care of your people. So, what I have to say is leadership is about influencing people and the legacy that you bring to them. And that's what Captain Lutz did. And I really realized what kind of gentleman and what kind of leader he is. I hope you're all inspired to be a leader like that someday. Training your soldiers and keeping in touch with them over the years. I told you to be a caring leader. Treat your soldiers as they know that they deserve. Put your arms around them, train them, guide them. Let them know you'll be there for them. They'll depend on you as you depend on them. Okay, I've provided you a couple of great examples of how relevant to the AG Corps and what I define the difference between management and leadership. So, I now want to share with you what I look at as my life's mantras, things I look at every day. I actually have a set of worn out 3x5 cards that I keep in a little folder in my left breast pocket, and I pull them out because I have to remind myself. This is what I do when I get up in the morning. First, I wake up and I exercise. I actually turn on the computer and read the news first. First thing I look at is I look at the New York Times. I subscribe to it online. I try to find out what's going on in the world. They've got the best world update, and see if our army or if our military has done anything else. I then exercise. I believe you personally have to start off the day and exercise, relax your brain, relax your body, and get ready to go. You're the leader, you lead by example, your soldiers will follow. And then I sit and I try to think. I look at it and I say, before I turn the computer on at work and get my email, I think, what are my priorities for the day? How did we finish up yesterday and what do I need to do today? I set my priorities. Then I turn on my email. Then I go to the Washington Post. Why do I read the Washington Post? Scan the headlines? Because I find out what's happening in the city. What is happening politically? Are we going to have money next week? Are we going to be doing furloughs again? It impacts us. Have we declared war on anybody else? What's happening in the Pentagon? Who's gotten in trouble today? So I look at the Washington Post. Then I jump at my email, and the first thing I look for, should be near and dear to your hearts, is S1 notes. Okay? What has happened in the AG world that I may have missed, and I might have to do. And for our foreign officers, I recommend you take S1 notes back to your country and try to publish something like that to share with the other human resource professionals. It is the best way to keep informed. When I go down S1 notes, I look for the alerts. I go and I read the alerts. What's the impacting on the AG Corps? I look at Milford messages. I go and look at that. What am I going to have to do from the on the AG Corps from the Milford messages? And I also go on to AKM and go to DOD News, because I may have missed something in the Washington Post or the New York Times, and try to see what's happening out there. Then I try to look at myself, and for number 3, I say, how can I contribute to that? How can I contribute to my family? How can I contribute to my wife and my children, my geographical bachelor? How can I contribute to my life? Is it the phone call? Is it the card you take the time out and send? Is it when you have the luxury of living together? You're taking care of some little issue in the evening, dinner, dishes. How can I contribute to my family? How can I contribute to my soldiers? I leave my office at lunch. I believe you have to do that. And I go someplace on post to eat or do something. I walk around the athletic field. I go over to the golf course with a couple of golf balls. I do something different. And I usually end up talking to a soldier. And I try to find out what's happening off the field. What do you think? How can I contribute? I use the AG Regimental Association to talk to the battalion and brigade S1. What a great tool. How can I contribute? What are you guys not seeing that your Division 4 ones are seeing? How can I contribute? I read and study about the profession. As you heard, I've been in the Army for 35 years. I enlisted in 1978. Spent 3 years on active duty, got out as a Specialist 5. Went to reserves, ROTC, came back from the Army 4 years later as an AG officer. But I forgot a lot of things. I've read the Code of Conduct. I've reread it in the last year. I've reread my general orders, and I have to smile. How can I contribute to my profession? So I go back and try to pick that up and look at it again. I also believe history repeats itself. So I try to go back and look at what history has said to me and what I can do. Next, I sleep. And some of you older gentlemen and ladies may appreciate this. We're probably up pretty early in the morning, and by noon with that big lunch in us, you try to catch a nap. I try to catch 7 hours of sleep a night. And then during the day, I try to take 20 minutes to meditate. Get away from the computer, sit back, think, meditate, and relax. I was telling the group today I did that in Iraq. I'd be in the office at 5 in the morning, I'd leave at 10 at night. It was hard to get 7 hours of sleep, but in the middle of the day, I would sit back and I would relax. I would re-energize myself, and I was physically sharp and ready to go. I made sure I ate. You know, if you're blowing off breakfast or you're blowing off dinner, I think you're absolutely wrong. You've seen the nutritionists. Your young soldiers need you to be a role model. You gotta rest and you gotta eat. Lastly, take care of your family and yourself. What have I done for my kids today? What have I done for myself? Remember, the Army is for 20 to 30 years, but your family's forever. Okay. Be humble. It's a privilege to serve. I'm not sure I saw it that way when I was sitting in your seats quite a few years ago. But I see it in retrospect. I see clearly the higher purpose of our leaders. Build your team, give them credit. An old boss of mine, General Stan McChrystal, said, you can get just about anything accomplished when you are unconcerned about who gets the credit. Give your team credit. sure all of you know who General McChrystal is. He's probably the greatest commander I've ever had the opportunity to serve for. Have a sense of humor. My goodness. I love one-line jokes. We have a guy in the office named Lee Harris. Mr. Harris, retired colonel, was the Force Command Adjutant General before I was born. He's the Deputy Adjutant General. We got one-liners going back and forth all day. In fact, we usually have a lunch bet that somebody has to buy lunch if the other person can go a day without saying a one-liner. Nobody's ever won. Somebody's always thrown the one-liner in early. So have a sense of humor, especially as a cat making all those big bucks. Have fun, enjoy life. Why not? There'll be plenty of deployments and plenty of exercises. You got to take some time and spend it with your family and your friends. Like I said, the family is for life. The military is for 20 to 30 years. Used to be a big runner, and my getaway was running. So I got to thank Bill Bowerman for inventing Nike running shoes because he's kept me sane for many years. I didn't start my career as a colonel. I started as a private and decided I wanted to be an officer and lead and train troops. To have the best soldiers who are ready on a moment's notice. I think that's where your focus needs to be. To have the best soldiers who are ready on a moment's notice. If you can do that, if you put all those pieces together, you're going to succeed in anything you do. You represent the future of our AG Corps. You're the AG Corps to your country, to your leaders, to your army. You're leading the soldiers whose parents could be sitting out here. You owe it to your soldiers, you owe it to their parents, you owe it to our country. Lastly, be flexible, especially now. The truth changes. Okay? The truth does change. And stuff happens. I have another word for that, but I'm not going to share that in this crowd. Okay, time for a little humor. It's called the 2-minute management course. Some of you have probably heard this before, but these are relevant. I've used these quite a few times. Lesson 1. An eagle was sitting in the tree, and he was resting, doing nothing. A small rabbit saw the eagle and asked him, "Can I also sit like you and do nothing?" And the eagle answered, "Sure, why not?" So the rabbit sat on the ground below the eagle and rested. All of a sudden, the fox appeared, jumped on the rabbit and ate it. Management lesson number 1. To be sitting and doing nothing, you have to be sitting really, really high up. Right, that's small also. Lesson 2. The turkey was chatting with the bull. "I'd love to be able to get to the top of that tree," sighed the turkey, "but I haven't got the energy." It wasn't eating right. "Well, why don't you nibble on some of my droppings?" replied the bull. "They're packed with nutrients." The turkey pecked at a lump of cow droppings. Thought it actually gave him the strength to reach the lowest level of the tree. The next day, after eating some more cow pie, he reached the second branch. Finally, after the 4th night, the turkey was probably perched on the top of the tree. There he is, spotted by the farmer, who shot him out of the tree. Management lesson number 2. BS might get you to the top of the tree, but it won't keep you there for long. Okay? Lesson 3, the last one. A little bird was flying south through the winter. It was so cold, the bird froze and fell to the ground in a large field. Yeah, that's probably happening right now. Anybody heading up into the upper Midwest? Good luck. It's cold. While he was lying there, a cow came by and dropped a cow pie on him. As the frozen bird lay on the pile of cow pie, he began to realize how warm it was. The cow pie was actually thawing him out. He lay there all warm and happy, and soon began to sing for joy. Passing cat heard the bird singing, came to investigate. "Oh, I'm sorry about the kitty." Following the sound, the cat discovered the bird under a pile of the cow pie. He promptly dug him out and ate him. Management lesson number 3. Not everyone who crafts on you is your enemy. Not everyone who gets you out of deep craft is your friend. And when you're in deep craft, it's best to keep your mouth shut. That ends your 2-minute management course. Remember, the strength of our army, the strength of our nation is our army. The strength of our army is our soldiers, the AG soldiers. And the strength of our soldiers are our families. Congratulations. to each and every one of you. I know you have great adventures, and I'm jealous. Perform magnificently. I give any word be where you are today. Get back to what Bill Barman said with Nike. Just do it. God bless. Good luck. The fellow has run. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Robbie Cruz is presenting Colonel Keel with 2 one-year AGCCC junior enlisted memberships as a token of our appreciation for his time, example, and thoughtful remarks. Sir, we hope that the soldiers you choose to get these memberships will be motivated and inspired much like we were by your remarks here today. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. We'll now recognize some of the outstanding individual achievements of the class. First, we recognize those officers who earned the Army Physical Fitness Badge, which is awarded to soldiers scoring a minimum of 270 points, with at least 90 points in each event on the Army Physical Fitness Test. Please stand as I call your name. First Lieutenant Jamie Abel. First Lieutenant Benjamin Amaya. Captain Ashley Caravaggio. Captain Bethany Dumas. Captain Gary Gates. First Lieutenant Nicholson Wilcox. And Captain Patrick Zabrowski. Congratulations. Taking it one step further, the President Theodore Roosevelt Award recognizes excellence in physical fitness. In War Department General Order Number 240, dated 4 December 1907, President Theodore Roosevelt initiated the Army Physical Fitness Program. A medal struck by the U.S. men from the original dies presented for achievement of a perfect score on the Army Physical Fitness Test. Will the following officers please stand? Captain Bethany Dumas, First Lieutenant Benjamin Amaya, and First Lieutenant Nicholson Wilcox. Well done. Major Verbeck will now assist Colonel Keel in presenting the remaining rewards for our graduating class. Each captain's career corps selects a leadership award recipient in honor of the late Major General William H. Gorley, Honorary Colonel Emeritus of the Adjutant General's Corps Regiment. During his 36 years in uniform, Major General Gorley held such esteemed positions as G1 Forces Command, Commanding General, 1st Personnel Command, and Adjutant General, United States Army Europe and 7th Army, and Director, ECMD of Alexandria, Virginia. Major General Gorley's powerful personal example inspired all who knew him, and his 10 golden rules of leadership still provide a simple and enduring standard for all leaders to meet. The Gorley Leadership Award recipient is determined by a peer vote and is presented to the student who best demonstrates those 10 golden rules in their daily life. The recipient will receive the Major General William H. Gorley Leadership Medallion and a certificate signed by the Chief of the AG Corps. The recipient of Major General William H. Gorley Leadership Award is Captain Robbie Cruz, who's headed to Jacksonville, Florida, recruiting battalion. The Diplomatic Medal is presented to the international officer who has distinguished himself through superior performance during the course. The medal presented today is struck from the original die by the United States Mint in Philadelphia and is presented on behalf of the International Military Student Office. The recipient of this award is First Lieutenant Yelida Isik from Turkey. Excellence Award is named in honor of Colonel Frank C. Foster, Jr., founding father of the Adjutant General Corps Regiment and the Adjutant General's Regimental Corps Association. His focus on the history and tradition of the Adjutant General Corps was key in the design of our distinctive regimental crest, which remains a symbol of excellence today. The Colonel Frank C. Foster, Jr. Writing Excellence Award is presented to the student who, as determined by the Adjutant General Regimental Council, best demonstrates the effective writing skills of Colonel Foster. The Writing Excellence Award and engraved medallion goes to Captain Todd Gibson, headed to Fort Eustis, Virginia. Captain Gibson is also graduating on the Commandant's list. The Commandant's Certificate and Point of Excellence is presented to the officer with the second highest overall class standing. This award encompasses all facets of the course and is indicative of the officer's leadership skills, grade point average, and physical fitness. It represents personal sense of responsibility, and commitment to excellence. The honor graduate for Captain's Career Course, Class 90213, is Captain John Harder of the New York Army National Guard. The President Benjamin Harrison Medal is presented to the distinguished honor graduate, that officer who achieves the highest overall class standing to include leadership, core and technical academic requirements, and physical fitness. Their class standing and this award are indicative of exceptional personal effort and an unwavering commitment to excellence. The distinguished honor graduate for the Captain's Career Course, Class 90213, is First Lieutenant Monica Jimenez, going to Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
We got the perfect opportunity to film on the shots.
Colonel Keel will now present diplomas to our graduating officers. Please hold your applause until the end. First Lieutenant Jamie Abrams, headed to Fort Wainwright, Alaska. Major Mujahid Al-Harbi of Saudi Arabia. First Lieutenant Benjamin Amaya, headed to Fort Drum, New York. Captain Musad bin Mohaya, Saudi Arabia. Captain Stephen Brown, to Troy, Michigan. Captain Ashley Carvalho, to Fort Carson, Colorado. Captain William Crow, to Fort Polk, Louisiana. Captain Anisha Dawkins, to Hunter Army Airfield, Georgia. Captain Caree Dixon Thompson, to Fort Hood, Texas. Captain Bethany Dumas, to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Captain Jerome Figs, to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Captain Gary Gates, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Captain Christopher Green, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Captain Marta Hearn, who is also on the Commandant's list, headed to Kaiserslautern, Germany. Captain James Johnson, to Fort Stewart, Georgia. Major Cook Jin Kim, from the Republic of Korea. First Lieutenant Matthew King, to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Captain Aaron Levitt, also on the Commandant's list, headed to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Captain Alejandro Magana, Fort Buchanan, Puerto Rico. Captain Alexandra McGuire, also on the Commandant's list, headed to Fort Polk, Louisiana. First Lieutenant Anthony Mendoza, Fort Bliss, Texas. Captain Jeffrey Minicky, Des Moines, Iowa, also on the Commandant's list. First Lieutenant Brandy Moore, Shaw Air Force Base, South Carolina. Captain Eric Knowles, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Captain Alexander Nieves, Fort Benning, Georgia. Captain Steve Rausbach, SoCal Recruiting Battalion, California. First Lieutenant Erica Robinson, Fort Bliss, Texas. First Lieutenant Lindsay Rufa, Fort Riley, Kansas. Captain Craig Spencer, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. First Lieutenant Chip Standifer, Fort Richardson, Alaska. First Lieutenant Melanie Stewart, Hickory, North Carolina. First Lieutenant Jackie Zhao, Fort Richardson, Alaska. Captain Ryan Tutton, also on the Commandant's list, headed to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. First Lieutenant Nicholson Wilcox, Fort Stewart, Georgia. Captain Earl Wilson, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Captain Mary Wong, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And Captain Patrick Zabrowski, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest graduates of the Admiral Civil School. Colonel Keel, again, on behalf of the graduating class, thank you for sharing your insight and wisdom with us today. Thank you to the Adjutant General Corps Regimental Association for its support of our awards program. And thank you to all of you, our special guests, for taking the time to honor us and our students with your presence today. To the graduating officers and on behalf of the entire AG School cadre, I offer our personal congratulations and well wishes for your continued success. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please stand as Captain Robbie Cruz leads the graduating class in reciting the Soldier's Creed and remain standing for the Army song and departure of the official party.
The Soldier's Creed.
Soldier's Creed. I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and member of the team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier. You always know that the